Arrancamos. Anthony from the neighborhood en Latino Mixx. Dale play a tu bocina.
Bienvenidos, señores. Welcome to the show from the neighborhood. Today's Saturday and it is 11 o'clock. You already know where you need to be. That's LatinoMixx.com and checking us out on all the other channels. If you're looking for us online, it's from the neighborhood. 3 words are going to grant your wish and connect you with me. And I'm looking for you guys to connect with me because this is the show where we start debunking what it's like to be from a certain area. Nosotros vamos a romper la barrera y llegar a conocer los individuos que están viviendo, los vecinos que están en nuestros vecindarios, siendo cosas notables, cosas impresionantes, really impressive stuff that they're making happen in their communities and you don't even know because guess what? A lot of us don't talk to our neighbors. We'd rather connect to somebody on Instagram all the way on the other side of the country because of whatever it is that they're showing versus going across the street and finding out, what are you doing? What are you doing? How is this neighborhood changing because of your contributions? And that's who our neighbors are. And this is the program From the Neighborhood, where we're bringing out the story of locals, getting a real sense of what it's like to be in the neighborhood and breaking the preconceived notion of what it's like to be from a specific area. And if you guys are from a specific area, not only connect with me, but be a part of the show. Sea parte del programa donde usted puede contar tu historia. So go ahead and reach out to me from the neighborhood, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, or any of the platforms. Reach out to me and say, hey, I got a great story to tell. We'll connect you with the guys here and they'll go ahead and get your story and we'll start talking about it and let the people on the air know where you're from. And if you like where you're from, represent it by checking out the store. I've got tons of stuff on there and you can go ahead and check out one of the shirts, the sweatshirts, the hoodies, the water bottles, and pick up your neighborhood today. Así que ya usted sabe, busca la tienda From the Neighborhood para que puedas representar tu vecindario con un suéter, una botella de agua o todas las otras cosas que nosotros vendemos ahí en nuestra tienda From the Neighborhood. And if you guys have a business and you guys want it to be known, hey, the whole team here is going to help you advertise your business, connect with not only the people who are here on the program, but everybody who's listening to us. So if you hear me right now, guess what? Your message will be heard. So make sure your business gets heard by getting on to this program here From the Neighborhood. So with that, guys, I know you guys have a lot of requests. I've got a great program. Let me give you a little sneak peek of who's coming on. Esto es lo que viene para nuestro programa. Are you ready? Are you ready? Esta es la historia de un inmigrante. Esta es una historia que te va a sorprender porque no es inmigrante como lo que nosotros estamos pensando. No es un latino, pero tiene una historia muy, muy similar. Así que la historia del inmigrante puede ser universal. A este punto yo he invitado muchas personas, he entrevistado muchos que tal vez no sean latinos, pero tienen una historia muy similar. So we've got a story, an immigrant story, with someone here who's not Latino, not from Latin America, right? Not Hispanic from Spain, doesn't speak any Spanish, but it's a very applicable story to those immigrants who are out here. So if mommy, daddy were the immigrants in your family, they're going to have a story that they can relate to and connect to. So stay tuned because this person's having a lot of success here, despite many of the setbacks that sometimes hold us back and stop us from proceeding and moving forward. This person here is going to be able to tell us their experience and they're just getting started. By the way, I'm giving you a hint. They're young. They're just getting started. Apenas están comenzando. So, está muy interesante la historia. Quiero que ustedes lleguen a escucharlo. Ustedes me lo han pedido, este tipo de historia. You guys have requested this kind of story. So, I can't do nothing better than to go back to a classic and go ahead and check out this song here. It's Rockmaster Scott, the Dynamic 3 request line. Let's go.
De regreso con Anthony from the neighborhood.
Yes. Welcome back to the show. Here we are from the neighborhood. And I already gave you guys a little bit of a warm up of what the story was going to be like. It's a immigrant story. It's a very wholesome story, which, by the way, I feel like we're only probably up to like halfway through chapter 1. So if we were going to go ahead and take somebody's life and divide it up and say from 1 to 20, you're this. Or let's break it down even further, 1 to 15, right? You're going through puberty and all this stuff, then you become an adult, adolescent to adulthood, and maybe you get to your 40s and 50s, and then at that point, I don't know, they put you the membership at AARP or something like that. And now you're reaching the 3rd trimester of your life. Well, I think we're still in chapter 1. I don't know what it is, but this guest that I have here is going to have a very interesting thing to say. So, muchas cosas interesantes. Creo que estoy en el capítulo número 1 para la vida de esta persona porque me van a contar muchas cosas. So, vamos a comenzar en la primera página de este libro. Let's start on the first page of this book. I want to welcome to the show David Avgi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, man.
How's it going?
It's going well, man. Such a pleasure to be on.
Well, listen, welcome to From the Neighborhood. You are officially from the neighborhood once you're on this program?
Let's go. Let's do it.
Why don't we talk about the first neighborhood you started? Where were you born?
I was born in Israel, actually. I was born in Tel Aviv, and we lived in Savion.
Describe me life in Tel Aviv.
So
that you remember.
It's very hard to describe because I don't remember much because I was taken really at a young age and brought to America. But life over there, it's a little bit different. It's kind of like more go with the flow. You're living just to like in America, you're working, I guess you can say, to live. Over there, it's more like you lived. Over here, you live to work. Mm-hmm. Over there, you work to live.
You work to live.
So you just want to make the minimum. Yeah. You want to go out to the beach. You want to hang out with your friends. You want to go out every night. You see your parents going out at nights. It's like in America, you don't really get to see that as much.
You enjoy life.
Yes. Well, but you don't make as much money.
It sounds like the life that I would relate to when I would go to the Dominican Republic and see
Very
what was
similar.
Now, everybody will wake up like super early in the morning, but it's like by 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, like we're taking it super slow.
Yes.
It's relaxed, right?
100%.
And you're on the other side of the world. So guys, if you haven't pulled out your map, Israel is like over here and like South America or Dominican Republic is over here. So we have to cross the Atlantic Ocean. Okay. So it's on a different part of the world, but yet striking similarities.
100%.
Now you came here at 3.5 years old.
Yes.
Right. That's why you don't remember much.
Yes.
So it's an immigrant story. Tell me, you got here 3.5 years old. How? By plane, by boat? How'd you get here?
Parents, decided to say, hey, we're opening up a business in New York. Mm-hmm. Grandfather passed away in Israel. They had a manufacturing company for furniture and said, let's try our luck in New York. And they were killing it. Back in the day, they were killing it, but hard times came on. And then they said, let's try a new venture.
Yeah. Now, if you guys remember a funny story, I just want to catch up the viewers. If you haven't seen the episodes, a few months back in January, David Avgi. All right. That's your cousin.
Notorious. Yeah.
Your cousin was on the show. So if you heard furniture business, if you heard Israel, well, guess what? I'm trying to get the whole family on this program.
Hi.
They have a very interesting story. 3.5 years old. You're here from Israel. Parents start a business. But how do you remain here? Your parents, what happened that you stayed in the U.S.?
So back in the day before 9/11, it wasn't like a big thing to be an immigrant. So we came here on a visa, and I believe my parents were doing the EB-5 program. The only thing is, there was like no urgency or rush to go ahead and get your papers. And once their business failed and everything was getting sent to their business, they didn't really follow up on it. Turns out, I became an immigrant.
Dun, dun.
Dun, dun.
Illegal immigrant.
Illegal.
So, señores, estamos hablando de una cosa. El primo de él estuvo en este programa. Él nos está contando la historia de cuando vino cuando niño. Los padres vinieron aquí, trataron de un negocio. El punto es que la visa se le expiró. These guys were here illegally.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So this isn't a story where it's just like whoever crosses the Mexican border comes here illegally or whoever gets across the Caribbean Sea and lands into Miami. We're talking about you guys came on a commercial airline on a visa. EB what?
Well, we were doing the EB-5 program.
EB-5? Okay.
Yeah.
And it expired.
And
now you're here illegally. But you're a child. Now, were there programs like what there are today?
Nothing. No insurances, no programs. Company went bankrupt really quick. They
lost the business.
They lost the business.
Wow.
We didn't have money. Barely even struggling to have food. We didn't have the language, and it was very tough in the beginning. Were you
on food stamps or trying to find some government assistance?
We couldn't even get that.
You couldn't get anything?
Nothing.
So your parents, your mother, your father,
working around the clock to try to provide the minimum. So like me growing up, I grew up with understanding at a very young age what a 3-day notice is and what like we can't afford that really is.
Right. So you're talking about like they're working off the books.
Off the books in many different ways, doing whatever it is. If it's cleaning bathrooms to cooking to this to that, you can name it. They were doing it. Whatever brings money in to support the family.
And when you talk about childcare, like you're a child.
Yeah.
So who's taking care of you guys? Son niños que están en la casa solo. ¿Cómo es que se lo están cuidando? How is this happening?
So it's a balance act. It's a balancing act, right? So dad would work all day. Sometimes I wouldn't see him for 3, 4, 5 days in a row because he would just stay at work and wouldn't come back. Then mom would take us to school, work in the morning, come back, have us after school, and then she would work at night catering or cooking and whatnot. And it was a bunch of balancing acts.
Now, I got to say something here. In a lot of Latino households, you start working young.
Yes.
Right. And I think that we start working young because we have a situation where it's like you can't stay home. You have to, first of all, you have to contribute to the household.
Yes.
But secondly, it's like you have to start learning skills at a very young age. And you started very young. Why don't you say when you started?
So it's also, it comes down to also in retrospect, if you want something, you actually have to get it for yourself. It's not like other kids where it's like, oh, he has a PS4. Can I get a PS4? It's like, we can't afford a PS4.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you want to go get it. And I started at, I think like 7 years old grinding, whether it was having a small little food court, selling cookies, making lemonade, to going to neighbors' houses, taking their garbage, selling it to the other neighbors and doing like waste removal, to working in a moving company at like 13 years old.
Hold on, let me pause for a second. Señores, este hombre nada más tiene 28 años. So 7 times 4 is 28. That's your age.
Yeah.
So you started working, you already have 4 quarters of your existing life in the workforce.
Yeah.
And you described some of the jobs here. You said selling garbage from the neighbor to another neighbor?
So doing waste removal in a sense of, let's say, someone else's trash is someone else's treasure. If you have, let's say, a planter you don't really like or clothes you don't really like or whatever it is, I would go ahead and do the trash removal for you. Now, I will do the trash removal, but then I'll do a garage sale a block after. And I would try selling that trash to someone else.
Interesting.
And I would just do heavily discounted price. Obviously, I was so young, I didn't even know what I was selling.
Right.
And people would come, and some people would have an idea, they would buy it. The rest I would throw away in the trash, and I would go from there. I would do car washes on the weekend. I would be a bag boy in the grocery stores that I only worked on tips.
I did that job too. I did the job.
But did you have a salary?
No, tips. No,
And
that came in when everybody went on strike. But I was all tips, and it was a quarter, a dollar, or whatever.
Like 20 cents.
Yeah. That was my first job at 10 years old.
Yo, so hard.
Yep.
So hard. Some days you would go in and I would take the card too. You would make like $0.
$0, yeah.
Like not even a penny you would get.
Yep.
Crazy. So it's it made me appreciate the grind, right? But
Wow.
but I love to work. I never complained about it.
Well, you were in business for yourself, right? You were literally working for yourself. Usted está trabajando por ti mismo. You are yourself incorporated,
Yes.
right? Because
Clock
you didn't
in,
have
clock out, whatever I choose.
Exactly. And you have no safety net. So you could have been there Monday through Friday, like you said, pushing the carts and not made a penny. But it taught you the work ethic. And you were just out there basically to get that money.
100%. The parents were always laughing, but they were supporting, they were loving, they were encouraging. Listen.
But they're doing the same thing too, right?
100%.
They're also working really hard to try to get money because
100%.
you guys cannot get programs. You could not get the assistance. You knew what the 3-day notice was, right?
Yeah.
So you got to get out there and take on this big task of literally get money. And I'm going to go to a quick break right now with my man Biggie. Get money. Let's go.
De regreso con Anthony from the neighborhood.
That's right. And we just came back from Biggie's and Little Kim, Get Money. And that goes back to the 90s. Let me just tell you. Yep. You probably heard that song, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you know how it is. But now we're talking about your parents having to get money. Los padres de estuvieron trabajando casi 24 horas al día, muchos turnos, muchos diferentes trabajos, una variedad de cosas que tuvieron que hacer. Y él comenzó a los 7 años. So you're 7 years old. You're doing your job. You said trash for trash, like you're selling trash at the next block.
Whatever gets a dollar.
Right, whatever gets a dollar, and this is interesting because it doesn't stop there. The challenges continued on. And tell me about the next other half. So I'm going to break up your life like this.
Yeah.
3.5 years old to 7 years old. You got the job at 7.
Yeah.
7, when you reach 14, you start high school. What happened to you in high school?
So
I'm going by multipliers here.
I was a wild child too, man. I was crazy. I was emotionally not aware of my emotions as well. And I hated being told what to do. And I was a failure in high school.
A rebel.
Rebel, worst, expelled from like every school you can think of. And also on top of that, I was a failure. Like my grades were always below par. I was like the worst.
Wow.
I was the worst one in the class, always.
Now, hold on a second. Not the one who's last doesn't necessarily have to finish first because this,
100%.
you 28, this is 14.
Yeah.
And I just went back, split that in half, went to
double
7.
Yeah.
Split that in half, went to 3.5.
Yeah.
This is why I started this in terms of chapters for your story, because 3.5 to 7, double that. 7 to 14, right?
Yep.
Double that.
Compounding
14
interest.
to 28.
Warren Buffett. That's exactly what he talks about, right?
Yes. So you didn't
Look at me now, Mom.
you didn't finish last. Hey, listen, my man, that's exactly where I'm going. So no acabó de último, aunque de 3.5 a 7, de 7 a 14, no quedó en último. Aunque a la edad de 14 años estuvo muy rebelde, lo botaron de escuela, lo sacaron de clases, estaba perdiendo todo ánimo, deseo de querer hacer lo que pudiera hacer. At 14 years old, you were like literally tuned out. You're like, I don't want to deal with this. I'm not listening to anybody. You drop out of high school.
Yeah. Go tell that to your parents, you know? Hey, Mom, Dad.
Somehow you're not in the system of high school anymore.
Listen, I'll tell you what. I had to be super smart about how I'm dropping out by giving them an idea of how I can step back in if I ever wanted to, and how I'm saving time because I'm failing anyways and I'm going to be left back in a sense. And I have a lot more credits that I need to complete, and I could always get a GAD, and I could take these 2-3 years and figure out what I got to do. So I had to pitch them. So that was my first pitch, as we know, as real estate agents.
The pitch for your life, basically, because you wanted to get some sort of education, some background, get this GED. But where are we with immigration right now? Are we green
nothing.
card? No green card.
No green
So
card.
acabando el high school, todavía no tiene la tarjeta verde. O sea, no está aquí legalmente. So basically, you're leaving a door open, not just for the GED, but for the opportunity to, validate the reason for you even being here, right? Because you've got to go through this visa process to try to get this green card.
100%.
Right? So now, what happens? Do you get into college? Well, you left the door open. What happened?
At 14 years old, pretty much what I was doing, I was working my ass off. I remember at 15 years old, I was a barista. So at a restaurant, I was a barista. At another restaurant, I was a busboy / waiter when they upgraded me.
This is going to have another long list.
Yeah. And then on top of that, I was a mover. So I work at my friend's company's moving company as a mover at like 14, 15 years old. So screw it, I got to lift things up. I'll lift things up all day long. So I work these crazy hours. At a certain point, I was washed out. I think at 15 and a half years old, I broke down to my mom. I was 15. I was like, I need to do something with my life. I need a career. I didn't drop out of school to just be this. And by the way, I was a failure, but I wasn't stupid. I was a failure because I never tried to apply myself. I just gave up in school. But when I left school, I was constantly reading and educating myself. But I wanted to educate myself. I didn't want a teacher that's making... this is how I used to think.
Yeah.
If you're making $50,000 a year, how are you going to educate me about making millions a year? And it's the wrong way to think. But that was I was hard-headed, and I said, I'll educate myself, and I'm going to learn from other successful people.
Right.
So every book under the sun, I'm reading. Every podcast, whatever I could hear. If it's YouTube, if it's this, if it's that, I'm about that.
You basically enrolled yourself in a very different kind of school.
Right, my school.
Exactly. Your learning style, your visual learning, your hands-on learning.
Yes.
Right. So you're not taking this time in vain. And it's something you told me which stuck out, which is that you got back into you snuck back into college.
Yes, later on in life.
Okay, I don't know if that's a hack that people should know about today, but something about you leaving the door open got you back into a college, and then you got your associate's degree.
I got my associate's degree, and I almost got my bachelor's degree as well.
Let's give we're going to give a big round of applause for that. Let me get a round of applause. Van, that's a round of applause for you because, a lot of times people go ahead and they fail out of a system, and they don't go back. It's almost like they resent the system.
Oh, and I'll tell you what, I always have it in the back of my mind. Yeah. I'm like, one day I'll be a doctor too. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. It's like, nothing's impossible. And I didn't go back to school to get a degree. I went back to school because I believe at 18 years old, a switch lit up in my head.
Yeah.
Or at 19 years old, I was already doing real estate. I was studying, and I got my license at 18, and I was making zero money. And I think at 17 or 16, I took on a job as being a bartender at nightclubs as well to make ends meet.
Yeah.
And I was working real estate, making no money.
Wow.
Meaning I was shadowing and helping everyone else out, while not transacting in any deals.
Hold on right there, because you said bar, and I just got really thirsty. I'm thirsty for more of this story. I really am. So me dio mucho. Él dice que trabajó en una barra, me dio mucha sed para escuchar más de la historia. At this point, you said to yourself, I'm going to build my own curriculum. I'm starting to read these books. I'm applying myself at these jobs. And you get your real estate license. at 18 years old, that's the first level. I mean, the minimum age to get it.
Yeah.
So you did want to go back to school. You went back to school, got your associate's degree.
There was a reason why. Yeah. So at 15 and a half, I was crying to my mom. I'm like, I can't do this for the rest of my life. She found a newspaper. It has 4 real estate places interviewing for them. I went ahead, she set me up interviews for all Sunday, went to all 3 of them. They never asked me for my age, but I knew that that's going to be an issue. One of them hired me on the spot.
Wow.
The day after I started, he realized my age. He said, wait, you can't transact. You can't do deals. So then I was like, I don't need to transact. I'm going to be here finding ways that I'm going to make money. The second I get a license, I'm going to make money.
So,
meanwhile, I can't get a license because I'm an immigrant.
No, I know. I was just going to say that. What was the situation? When did that get straightened out? Because at this point, all you can do besides reading books and so forth is literally shadow people. Shadow, assist in the background.
18, when I got licensed, 18 and a half, I got into DACA and I got my social security and I got my working papers and then I got licensed and then I was able to transact. So everything was kind of like...
Let me translate this for a second. Señores, él es de Israel. Él tuvo que aplicar por el programa de DACA y a través de ese programa, él pudo después realizarse en bienes raíces, consiguiendo su licencia, acabando lo de la universidad y comenzando su trabajo, su carrera. So this has got you into your career.
Yeah.
Congratulations for those who jumped onto DACA, and if I don't know if that's still around, but that's a big deal. And I'm actually another set of applause for you for taking advantage of that sort of program, because a lot of people, like I said, they fall asleep on the situation.
100%. And at that point, it was I can't drive, I can't get a real job, I can't open up LLCs or corps.
You couldn't get your license at that time.
I couldn't get my license. I can't do anything with my life, and I was like, this really is frustrating.
Wow.
But even before getting that, I said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to learn what I want to do. And one day when God gives me the opportunity or it presents itself, I'm going to find a way to succeed. I don't give up. I'm doing it.
You had the right people to look at, because now you're putting yourself in an environment where you can actually start following. And shadowing
100%.
Folks who are already doing the business. Señores, él se puso en un ambiente, y esto es muy importante. Es muy importante que usted se ponga en un lugar donde usted puede aprender, donde usted puede seguir absorbiendo. So, aunque él dejó la escuela y siempre se puso en ambiente de trabajo, en ambiente con personas que lo podían estimular, siempre trata de encontrarte con personas que te pueden motivar y entrar a tu mente. You want people to be able to enter your mind, motivate you, get you inspired, because you don't want to be in an environment, as you said before, you didn't feel comfortable in a classroom. Now, no fault to classrooms. Yeah. The education system might work for many others, but for some it doesn't. But the point is, don't give up on yourself. Keep putting yourself into those opportunities, those environments. And I think that's really, really a big lesson. And now that you're in this real estate world, all you got to do is follow the leader.
100%.
You're in a place full of leaders.
And innovate.
That's it. Well, guess what? We're going to go to a quick break. Back to my jam right here. Eric B. Rakim, follow the leader. Let's go.
De regreso con Anthony from the neighborhood.
Aquí regresamos, señores, with David Avgi, my guest here for today's program. Él está aquí contándonos nuestra historia. Estamos contando la historia, dándole mucha luz a lo que es la historia del inmigrante, porque él estuvo aquí en su tiempo de su vida ilegal y tuvo que sacar lo que es el green card para poder sacar la licencia, no solo de manejar, pero también lo de bienes raíces, que después comenzó a hacer lo que llegamos pronto. Vamos a entrar a esa historia. Llegó a hacer lo de su negocio. So, you got your license, you're able to drive, you got your real estate license. Now you're establishing yourself. Yep, you're back in school, associate's degree. You're getting yourself into this path now of, I wouldn't say becoming a man, but you're becoming an adult. You're no more rebellious, trying to fight the system.
No more.
You found harmony. You found harmony in making it work, and you're mirroring agents. You're learning how this business works.
Just quick thing, guys. I was always lost. I was always lost, meaning like till today I'm lost. Like
they sell GPS.
Yeah, so I have like 6 of them. Yeah, I got 6 of them. I got them all right over here.
Tell us how exactly you mean lost.
So this is what I want to explain. If anyone thinks that anyone has a system or something in their mind that they have a path and they know exactly how to hit it and go, I would tell you they're lying to you. When I mean lost, I mean a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of people don't know what the fuck they're doing. until they get there, and then they figure it out. It's called being a yes man, in a sense of not saying yes and doing other people's favor, being a yes man to yourself, taking those leaps of faith and doing what you feel that is the right move to do in your life, and then from there figuring it out. Because if no one has it figured out, if I'm taking a new leap and I'm trying a new venture, I don't got to figure it out.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm trying to figure it out.
You're right.
So we're always lost, and anyone that tells you they're not lost.
And you know what? It's funny. Even though somebody has started a business, I always feel that you may have started the business, but you didn't start the business in 2023. You're not starting the business maybe in 2027, right? We're all starting at different points of our lives. So, for example, if I'm starting a business, all right, and you guys know about me, but I'm 41 years old and I've got 3 children at home. My circumstances are very different, and my perspective on this business, my approach is going to be very different, right? Not because I might be hesitant or scared or because of the children. It's because I may have to take certain steps or may only have available certain times that somebody else with probably less responsibilities may not,
100%.
right? Or the other way around. Somebody else, due to their lack of experience, might be very cautious where I may not, because I'm like, been there, done that.
100%.
So we don't know where people are starting. I really, really subscribe to that. A great point, David. And you know what? Not for nothing, you found this way of seeing what these people are doing, right? And they're all older than you. Right?
Yeah.
You're not even supposed to be in the room.
And I am the worst. Let me just tell you, I am the worst.
At the job? You were the worst at the job?
Oh, as a real estate agent, I don't think I saw real money till probably 21 years old, 20 years old.
So you lasted 3 years sticking it out.
At least 3, and then I shadowed for years before that with no money. So I was okay with making no money because I've been making no money. But yes, quite a while. I think my luck opened up when I started working for a developer on that side of the front, and I started learning everything. And then I had hundreds of millions of dollars in my pipeline. First of all, I made him a lot of money, but then it was kind of like sink or swim. He hired me for one job. I ended up over exceeding. Within 6 months, I managed a development firm. We were dealing with close to $500 million in real estate. And then from there, I took every opportunity I can get because I'm like, maybe I won't have this tomorrow. Who knows? It's kind of like I have an
Eat as much as you can. You were at the open buffet.
And I was eating. I was working 20-hour days.
Let me just say this, guys. This guy is from Kew Gardens, Queens.
Yeah.
We're not talking to somebody who's in Beverly Hills or some other neighborhood that's unattainable with gates and so forth, and I don't know how many Doberman pictures saying hello. Yeah. This is a guy from Kew Gardens, Queens. Why don't you shout out some stuff in Kew Gardens, Queens?
Hey, man, we got the Main Street Cinemas. That's a big shout out. That was like Wacky Wednesdays. We had no money. So on Wednesdays, it was like $4 movies, $4 popcorn bags and with like all the snacks and candies. The owner, Rudy, was like a top G. Honestly, such a good guy.
Yeah.
And he would not only let us watch the movie, he would let us sneak into the next movie right after that.
2 for
and
1.
that would be and that would be our Sundays, Benji's Pizzas. We used to hang out over there for no money, eating one slice of pizza, hanging out all the friends all day long. It was we didn't have money, but we had amazing experience and good people around us and a lot of love.
He's in Kew Gardens, Queens, which is, by the way, a stop on the Long Island Railroad. So if you guys who are here in Long Island ever want to check out Queens, get on the LIRR, as you call it, and then take a ride and you'll be in Queens.
Hey,
Queens represent, and this is the cool people you're going to find in Queens. You're still in Queens.
I'm still in Queens. I love Queens.
But you're doing some pretty big things now, and I want to just kind of get into this because you didn't just become a real estate agent, do your real estate business. Now you are actually a business owner, right? You went from the hustle and the grind to actually developing it. And I want to give you a big round of applause. I'm going to kind of let it out the bag here. You've opened up 5 offices, right? This is something that you started in 2021.
Yeah.
Pandemic.
I love it.
Okay. You started
Take all the risks.
2021. And you're opening something pretty big come December 2023. Why don't you give me a little peek of what is it that you're working on for 2023?
Amazing. So
December.
It's going to be kind of like a real estate HubSpot office where we're going to have podcast rooms, green rooms. We're going to have like a bunch of things that are interfacing social media and the real estate market. I'll give you a quick idea. During the pandemic, in the first 2-3 months when everyone was terrified and scared, I was selling over $150 million in real estate as an agent. So I was literally taking every advantage, and also some of my other businesses, I'm a real estate developer and investor, so I was just buying things up, and I was like, it is what it is. If I die, anyways, everything's going away, so might as well put it into this and take opportunity. And I kept on just rocking that and doing that over and over and over again. And at a certain point, I was like, okay, me and someone that actually the first person I ever worked for sat down and we're like, how can we change the game? And
you started doing
Avenues
something.
was born. And
Wow.
2 years later, we have 130 agents.
Wow.
And we're continuously building up. And the new office that we're doing, it's actually, we have a different perspective on it. It's how we can build up individual agents, people that need that guidance to leverage them to the next business.
Yeah.
But it's also in a sense of we own our places and we're retail spaces.
Congratulations on building your house, building your fort. I mean, literally, we're talking about real estate. It's almost like pun intended, right?
Yeah.
Houses.
Yeah.
But that's the way you run it. And, you're here at 28 years old, having a great run in your life and now establishing your business, your empire and so forth. And I really appreciate that. We're going to come right back to this here and talk about it a little bit more. And I have a question for you. It's a special segment. So esa es la pregunta mágica que siempre sale de la cajita. Siempre le tengo una pregunta a estos invitados, ya que él está creando su casita, su negocio, su hogar para su nuevo capítulo. Appreciate it, man. Great stuff. Can't wait to come back. But in the meantime, I love it. I love the way you're running it. And you know what? As a matter of fact, let's throw it back to Queens. Let's go with Run's house with Run DMC.
De regreso con Anthony from the Neighborhood.
Y aquí regresamos al último punto de nuestro programa. Unfortunately, this is the very last piece of our program. And, I always feel like we don't get enough time. And I feel like, you got to come back to this program. We got to do something again.
I'd love to.
Sometimes people say, oh, you're saying that because you're on the mic. I'm like, I'm legit on this, guys. These are interesting people on these programs. And unfortunately, I only get an hour. I only get 1 hour. So you guys can go ahead and jump on the request line and start telling people, hey, Anthony needs more time because you've got a great story, David.
Hey, we're going to do something cool.
Yeah, this has been really, really cool. Now, I want to go back to Queens because we had Run DMC here.
I love it.
And when we go back to Queens, Kew Gardens, you mentioned the movie theater. I love that story. The pizzeria, love that.
Yeah.
I said how to get there, Long Island Railroad, okay? What else can you tell me about Queens? What else is good?
I'll tell you what, it's more of the neighborhood in a sense of like the parks and growing up, and it's not suburban in a way of you have nothing to do and no friends to hang out with.
Yeah.
It's more like a place where if you want to go to the city, you're 30 minutes away, 40 minutes away.
Yeah.
You hop on the train, hop on the bus, and get to the city. And that's what I was doing every day at 15 years old. Funny enough, interning.
That's how you get around. It's the city, man. It's the subway. It's the buses. It's
different.
everything.
You don't
It's
need
different.
your mom and dad to drive you everywhere. That was a cool part. But it's also like a cool place where you can just hang out with the friends, go to the mall, do what you got to do. And I personally, I loved it. I loved having that freedom because my nature, my soul is just like
I love it.
freedom.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Yo le invito a las personas que vayan a descubrir Queens, que ya ustedes saben, él vino de Kew Gardens y es muy fácil llegar allá. Ahora vamos a llegar al segmento que me gusta a mí, uno que no sabemos lo que nos va a aparecer. We've got this segment. I don't know what shows up. I bring out my little box here. So can I get my music here for this little part? Bam, right here. This is the mystery box. And this box here has a question for you. So
I love it.
I don't know what they are. I never get a chance to look at it beforehand. So here it is. So your question is, let me just make sure I picked it from the right side. Yeah, I did. I got to pick from that side. Your question is, what are qualities you do not want in friends?
Wow.
This is the one that normally opens up people's minds and they're like, wow. Like, because I don't even know what.
And you know what? That's such a powerful question because
You want to look at it?
that's such a powerful question. Guys, this is like an incredible, powerful question because I struggled with friends and in ways where I gave my heart and I didn't get back. And then later in life, when you find your success, you find that a lot of people want to be your friends, but not everyone has the right reasons to be your friends. And I can say the number one thing, finding a friend, is someone that's always lifting you up and positive.
Yeah.
That's number one thing. Number two thing, someone that doesn't want anything from you, that just loves being around you.
Yeah.
Something that's genuine, that's not engineered in a sense of I'm not trying to get anything from you. But also someone that has that mindset that is like, no matter what, we're going to get through this. We're going to get ahead. I love you. I'm shouting you out. I don't need anything from you. And it's good nature, good spirit, good heart, but also motivated because you don't want someone that weighs you down.
Yeah, no, and it has the opportunity to grow deeper.
Yeah.
Because at this point, it's not just about the circumstance, whether you're doing good
100%.
right now or not. It's more like, I'm really genuinely interested in your life.
And at this point, you want friends. I'll tell you what, if you guys want to succeed, you want friends that are smarter and more ahead than you. And I'll explain to you why. Show me who your friends are. I'll show you who you are. There's a famous
es
saying.
el cuento que digamos nosotros. Dime quiénes son tus amigos, yo te digo quién tú eres. That's something said in the Latino culture big time.
So that's something in the Israeli culture we also live by.
Look at that. We're neighbors.
We are.
That.
And there's a lot of similarities.
Wow.
And the thing is like this. If you hang out with trash,
Yeah.
you're going to end up smelling, if you like it or not. It rubs off on you.
Yeah.
If you hang out with incredible people, guess what? That are killing it and achieving insane goals.
Yeah.
One day you will too.
Yeah. Wow, I love it. I love it. Great advice. Ya ustedes saben, señores, estamos hablando de un muchacho joven, 28 años, pero tuvo buenos consejos para ustedes, para la vida. No importa en qué etapa usted está, hay que buscarse buenos amigos. You got to find great friends no matter what age you're at. So I'd like to definitely give you another big thanks, and I definitely want to give you guys my tidbits from this interview. I learned that you're not too young to start. You just got to put yourself in the right environment. The road to success is not a straight path. And you have to invite the failures. So, David, thank you very much for being a part of this. Thank you for being in this program.
Love you guys. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to reach you guys as well in the audience. And whatever you guys need, hopefully we'll do a lot more cool things together.
Yeah, man. I look forward to it. And until next time, guys, yo espero verlo ustedes en el vecindario. And I expect to see you guys back in the neighborhood. Have a great day.
En Latino Mix, dale play a tu bocina.